Hi, this is my take on Corey Shuster's Ask a Question episode entitled Palestinians, the Quran says the Jews will return, so why don't you accept Israel? And I guess this, since it's not Corey who writes these questions, he receives them, so I will be explaining, I guess, or my take will be for the ones who ask the question or the ones who are interested. Why don't the Palestinians or the Muslims in general accept Israel in Palestine? Okay, before we go to these two verses, we have to go way before that. We have to go to the times of Abraham. So we'll use the Old Testament and we'll use the Quran also for this take. Okay, Genesis 12:1. The Lord had said to Abraham, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and there will be a blessing, and so on. So God promises this land to Abraham. We go to Genesis 13, verse 14. The Lord said to Abraham, after Lot had parted from him, look around you, around from where you are, to the north and south, to the east, all the land you see, I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring will be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. Okay, so here God again promises Abraham and his offspring the land, or the Holy Land. And of course gives more detail that his descendants will be like the dust or the stars, different versions. Okay, and we go to Genesis 17. And God again, after the birth of Ishmael, okay, again promises the land to Abraham and his descendants after him, and makes a covenant with them, and the covenant that they will worship God only, and they will get this land, he and his descendants after him. And as a seal of this covenant, Abraham and Ishmael get circumcised. So here the story begins. Okay, long time ago, times of Abraham, children of Israel, okay, children of Ishmael were pretty much one people. Okay, no difference. That's why the first son of Jacob, or Isaac, the first son of Isaac, married the daughter of Ishmael, his uncle. So there was no difference. Okay, and this land was promised to the offspring of Abraham, and God described more this offspring that they will be like the stars, or like the dust, or the sand on the beaches, and so on. And obviously Arabs who are descendants of Ishmael are about 400 million people, whereas those who are descendants from Isaac or Jacob even are only about 20 million max. That's not the point, but just to show you, when we say father of many nations, Arabs are 23 nations, Jews are only one nation. Okay. Also, when you say about the number being like the stars, Arabs are probably 40 times or more the number of Jews. Anyway, let alone Muslims even, let alone Muslims. If we talk about Muslims being spiritual descendants of Abraham, then we are talking about almost 1.6 billion people. But let's stick to physical descendants of Abraham. We are about 400 million people, while the Jews are only about 20 million. Also, it says that the people will be blessed, okay, by the descendants of Abraham. I guess even rabbis I spoke with admit how much Muhammad, the Arabian, the descendant of Ishmael, contributed to the spreading of God's name, Hashem, the only true God in the world, whereas Jews really failed at doing that. Anyway, that's the background for this promise. And this promise was for the Jewish people, or the descendants of Abraham in general, okay, those who worshiped him. That's the covenant. The covenant is you worship me, I'm your only God, you obey me, you do what I want, and I'll give you this land, and so on. So from Islamic point of view, Okay, there's only one God, of course. Same thing with Judaism, I guess. But where it differs is that prophets and messengers, and the word prophet, I don't like it because the way prophets in Islam is totally different from the word prophet in the Old Testament or Jewish Bible. So let's say prophets and messengers, okay, come from this God, okay, the only God. And as a covenant to worship God, you have to believe in his prophets like Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and so on. You have to believe in them, otherwise you would not know God, because they are the ones who are telling you about God, who bring the word of God to you. So once you stop believing in one of those prophets, for example, if Muslims don't believe in Jesus, we stop being Muslims, no more. If Muslims stop believing in David or Abraham or Jacob or Isaac, okay, or Solomon, whoever of the prophets, we are no longer Muslims, because the source is one for all of those prophets, and if we reject one, it means we rejected all the messengers. So that's where the problem happens, okay. Jewish people, okay, rejected their final messenger, the Messiah, Muhammad, who built the third temple, okay. His descendants built the third temple. And for those who are versed into Jewish biblical messianic verses, the descendants of Muhammad, or the followers of Muhammad, stopped the fourth beast and the 11th horn, okay. So Muhammad is the promised Messiah or prophet for the Jewish people. They rejected him because he is not from them. He is not from the line of, let's say, Jacob. Okay, and that's of course different subject about the corruption of the Bible. And if somebody just wants a quick thing, read Jeremiah 8 verse 8. Read it in Hebrew, don't read it in English, because the Hebrew says that Jeremiah telling the Jewish people the lying pen of the scribes corrupted the Torah of the Lord, of Yahweh, the Torah of Yahweh, not the laws of Yahweh, no, the Torah of Yahweh, because the translation, they always change something. So go to the Hebrew verse and read in Hebrew, and you'll find that Jeremiah is telling the Jewish people, you have corrupted the Torah of the Lord. And we believe that, anyway, so the Jewish people did not believe in Muhammad as their messenger, and here's the split between Muslims and Judaism, okay? So now we'll go to these verses in the Quran. Okay, and the first one of the verses was from chapter 5, Al-Ma'idah. Okay, and Moses now speaking to his people. Okay, and he says, and remember when Moses said to his people, and God says that, O my people, remember Allah's favors upon you when he raised prophets from among you, made you sovereign, and gave you what he had never given anyone in the world. No single nation in the world has so many prophets. Of course, we believe as Muslims, we believe every single nation in the world got messengers or prophets, whether they are Japanese, Chinese, Native Americans. God sent messengers to all nations. But the Jewish people, God favored them so much with so many prophets. That's verse number 1. So Moses is telling the people, okay, enter, or they're telling them how God was nice to them. And then he says, verse 21, O my people, enter the Holy Land which Allah has destined to you to enter, and do not turn back, or else you will become losers. Or else you will become losers. So God did destine this land to the descendants of Abraham, no question about it. Children of Israel or Arabs, same thing. Okay, as long as they keep his covenant, basically, you know. Now we have to read the second verse after that. We don't stop at one verse, okay? They replied to Moses, okay? They replied, O Moses, there is an enormously powerful people there, so we will never be able to enter it until they leave. If they do, then we will enter. I don't know if they are speaking about the Philistines or whatever at the time. I have no idea. We go to verse 24, okay? Yet they said, O Moses, still we will never enter as long as they remain there. So go, both you and your Lord, and fight. We are staying right here. Okay? And Moses says, God, I can't do anything about it. Okay? And God says, Allah replied, then this land is forbidden to them for 40 years, during which they will wander through the land, so do not grieve for the rebellious people. Okay? So that's the first chapter that was chosen, which is chapter 5, starting with verse 21, but I went like a couple of verses before that. Now, chapter 17, Al-Isra, okay? And God says, we'll start with verse 103. So Pharaoh wanted to scare the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, but we drowned him and all of those with him. Verse 104, and we said to the children of Israel after Pharaoh, reside in the land. Reside in the land. Okay? God does not say it's their land. Moses said that, okay, in the previous chapter or the other chapter. Here God says, reside in the land. But when the promise of the hereafter comes to pass, we will bring you all together. We will bring you all together. This is the only verse that's relative to this. Anyway, we have no problem from Islamic point of view that the land was promised to the descendants of Abraham, Arabs or Jews. We have no problem with that whatsoever. Now, the problem is, from Islamic point of view, Jews did not keep the covenant with God. Jews, for us, Jesus is a messenger of God, okay? For Jews, he is not. They tried to kill him from Islamic point of view. From their point of view, they did kill him. We don't believe that as Muslims. Jesus came to tell the Jewish people that your last messenger or the Messiah you are waiting for is from the line of Ishmael. Okay, and for whatever reason, corruption or whatever in the Bible, they had it as he's coming from the line of David. Okay, and they tried to kill Jesus. Okay, they killed Zechariah. Okay, they killed John the Baptist. Okay, so this is breaking the covenant with God. This is breaking the covenant with God. They still had a chance. When Prophet Muhammad came, they still rejected him. Okay, and he's the last of the prophets. And since they rejected him, okay, they totally broke the covenant with God. So, had they kept the covenant with God, no problem, because we would be anyway one nation, one God, one nation together. But unfortunately, from Islamic point of view, the corruption of the Bible, and I refer you back to Jeremiah 8, verse 8 in Hebrew, not in English or in Arabic or any other language. Read it, you'll find that Jeremiah accusing the Jewish people of changing, making the Torah of Yahweh lies, okay, making it lies. So that's where we believe that the Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac, where really we believe he was going to sacrifice Ishmael, because according to even to the Hebrew Bible, it says, take your son, your only son, whom you love. And you have the word Isaac there, okay, inserted there. The verse, take your son, only son, whom you love, cannot be applied to Abraham unless he had at the time one son. And Jews and Christians and Muslims agree that Ishmael was 14 years older than Isaac. So this verse, take your son, your only son, whom you love, cannot be but Ishmael and not Isaac, as somebody would like to believe. Okay, that's the only time Abraham had only one son, when he had Ishmael. When he had Isaac, he had two sons. Okay, God did not say take your second son or the second son or whatever. He said take your son, your only son, whom you love, and sacrifice. Of course, they inserted the word Isaac there. Some scribes, of course, according to Jeremiah, the scribes, the lying pen of the scribes made the Torah of the Lord into lies. So, going back to the promise, yeah, we have no problem. God did promise this land to the descendants of Abraham. We have no problem with that. Okay, Ishmaelites, children of Israel, are descendants of Abraham. we have no problem with that. But from Islamic point of view, the Jewish people broke the covenant with God, and that's why, from Islamic point of view, they do not deserve this land. Okay. Now, the interpretation of how they will come again here and so on, yeah, there could be wars in the future. We don't know. I mean, there are some, not in the Quran, there are some hadiths, and we don't know 100% if they are authentic or not, unlike the Quran. So hiding behind stone or hiding behind a tree, I personally, I don't believe in that. I don't believe it's authentic hadith by the Prophet. But that's the problem, and that's where the separation between Jewish people and Arab people, or children of Jacob and children of Ishmael, separate the covenant of God. We believe that Muhammad is the fulfillment of the covenant of God. They do not. We believe they broke the covenant with God. They don't believe that. Thank you.